Welcome to Secure Management Faculties, where your mind is key before you unlock what is seen. Secure Agent Dreyfuse. Welcome to my slide presentation introduction. This will be the slide presentation playlist, and any and all slide-based formats with a visual picture and presentation, along with what I'm speaking, will be acquired and will be placed, and this is what the concentration will be in this playlist. All right, let's jump into the topic. I wanted to talk about absolute violence. Absolute violence is basically a person or subject that skips the levels that introduce you to the cue that violence will take place. In other words, what I'm saying is you won't get a happy negotiable. What is that happy negotiable? Happy negotiable is that point in which you have a lot of cue indications that someone is feeling a certain way through body language, communication of words, or at least their psychological distress. If I was to set an example to what these negotiables may look like, you may get an example from World Rage. What happens? People cut each other off and they look and yell through the window regardless if the person can hear them or not, and they give the hands and signs and symbols and the yells and the screams, and then they get out the vehicle and then they furtherly do it, encroaching in each other's personal space, back and forth, making gestures, ego expression. Then it gets physical. After the physical, they push back and forth, and then after that, the physical part of the altercation begins. It usually stays where it's at the base level of exchanging, and then after that, it breaks up, or it goes to deadly force. In other situations, we tend to build on it after that. So what is the advice here? The advice here is to understand your subject to the best capacity that you can, especially in a threatening environment. You won't be able to necessarily tell which subject in turn is going to be able to use or exercise this absolute violence all in one, skipping all the steps that I listed. But also just realize that real life, there is no step in itself to actually have. It's just a point and measure. Someone can easily sucker punch someone and skip all the steps that I was listing as far as negotiable, arguing, back and forth, presentation of ego, then physical. They could just get to a physical point, especially if you're the last person that tips over the cup, if you will, or the last person that lights the fire to their lighter, even though they've had many situations that built up to that point. So the point in the indication is to pick your battles. That's the advice here. Pick your battles, understand the body language, understand their psychological state to the point of expression, and also understand the current situation of your relationship between that person and yourself. Will it be a short relationship, such as casually walking past them? Do you work with that person? Or is that person that come around intermediately? The point is, understand your relationship and actually value or suggest the value of your participation, of the emotional investment that should be impartialized, and make your decision in that moment presently. But do not participate in the ego fluctuations of it that makes them come to a conclusion of verification to choose you as a target, because being chosen as a target for someone else's faults or their conditions, you don't want it to be your fault. And that also goes to the point of principle of knowing your location, where you're at. There's people that can jump and present absolute violence even when you're simply by yourself and you just become a soft target. So the point is, at the end of the day, the lesson is clear. Be aware of how you participate in the problem. And as you're aware of how you participate in the problem, you'll be able to evaluate the situational circumstance that will allow you to be better. And also understand the information that your target or the person that is assaulting you is giving off. An easy word to say is vibes and feeling. But don't create your own destruction to only find out that person was absolute violence when you help push them to create that violence in your life. All right, secure management faculties. When your mind is key, for you unlock what it seems. Secure Agent Dreyfuse. Appreciate all who attended and observed this presentation introduction playlist with the topic of absolute violence. Again, thank you, and appreciate all who continue to come along to observe this upload and the next. Again, thank you.